soils are primarily limited by three main nutrients: potassium, phosphorus, and nitrogen. Potassium and phosphorus are able to readily be found in forest soils, but nitrogen is one of the main limiting ones. In these Pacific Northwest soils, as you can see, they have a high clay content, which often supplies a good amount of phosphorus. The rock minerals that make up the soil as well are able to supply the potassium as well. What they are not able to gather is nitrogen. That's where our good friend Alnus rubra, or red alder, comes into play and is able to fix nitrogen and bring it into the soils. Well, nitrogen is one of the main limiting nutrients in forest soils. It actually is one of the most abundant gases that makes up our atmosphere, comprising 78% of our total atmosphere composition. However, tree species such as Western hemlock and Western red cedar and Douglas fir, which tend to make up our traditional forests, have no ability to take this nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into usable organic forms. This is where Western Red Alder comes into play. In order to solve this problem of nitrogen being abundant in the atmosphere but not be able to be used as ground in organic matter through trees, alders have developed a symbiotic relationship with a bacteria, Frankia alni. If you follow me down to the roots here, these bacteria, Frankia alni, are these small nodules here on the alder roots. They've developed a symbiotic relationship with alder, where alder is able to fix carbon from the atmosphere as CO2 and bring it down and feed these small little fungi. In exchange, these fungi are able to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere, bring it down, and convert it into organic nitrogen in the form of ammonia. Once this nitrogen has been fixed from the atmosphere, it's then able to go and be used into the tree. As it goes up, one of the main sources of this nitrogen, or one of the main sinks of this nitrogen, is in the leaves. Nitrogen is an essential part of all living organisms. It provides the backbone for nucleic acids, which are able to form DNA and which allows for the process of mitosis and for growth. Once this nitrogen has been taken up into the leaves, these leaves then fall. Once the leaves fall onto the forest floor, they are then decomposed by other fungi that then take this nitrogen and put it into the soil. This transfer from nitrogen in the atmosphere into the tree and into the soil then allows it for a whole host of other plants to be able to be used and allows for growth.
Here I have in my hand various stages of decomposition of the red alder leaf. Here we have a fresh one, and as time goes on through the fall, the leaves fall off the tree. Being a deciduous species, this occurs, and throughout the year the leaf will degrade into different forms of a leaf. Here we have the most degraded form of a leaf, where there's really only lignin left in that's holding together the strands of fibers of leaf. And here we have a little more of a composed leaf that is no longer has any chlorophyll or anything, and this one still contains some sort of chlorophyll, whereas this is a fully ready to go leaf. As the leaf degrades, it releases nitrogen and other various nutrients that are important to the growth of different species. This cycle happens every year, as I said, and alders actually operate in a fashion where they release more nitrogen into the soils, and they sequester themselves for the season. This creates a surplus of nitrogen, which then allows for nitrogen-poor soils to gain nitrogen. This gain allows for other species like sword fern here, or lady fern, or this big leaf maple you see right here to come in and start living in the same community. To get from this perfectly photosynthesizing leaf right here into this final stage of decomposition, it takes the work of fungus. Fungus is very important in creating the influx of different nutrients into the environment, or into the soils rather. Here you can see on this leaf right here, you can see a colony of fungus right here that has attached itself to this leaf and is currently eating away at the lignified compounds that originally frame the backbone of this alder leaf right here. This area has a large wet area surrounding the river. On the other side of this trail right here, we have a division between forest type. These trees up here generally are not alder trees. They're generally trees that cannot stand water inundated areas. That is why we see alders on one side of the trail, but not on the other side of the trail. Right here, we have a nice species of red alder right here, Alnus rubra. This tree here has evolved to survive in water inundated areas. You can see, if you look closely at the bark, large bumps, which are known as lenticels, which allow for gas exchange to occur between the roots that are inundated with water and the air above. This alder right here, you can see closely, there are cracks in its bark. These generally don't occur unless there is a strong freeze. As this alder grows on, it will eventually fall over. This tree will be yet another vector for forest succession to occur, as the large canopy gap that it takes up will be available for other species to grow.